What's up, everyone? Welcome to this day in Philly sports history for December 31st, 2024. I'm your host, Jim Montgomery. Welcome to a Tuesday edition of the podcast, the last new podcast for 2024. And it is Tuesday, so of course it's time for a little motivation / positivity. And today we're going to talk a little bit about VCR questions. And kids, if you're not sure what a VCR is, ask your parents or your grandparents. They will explain it to you. But essentially, those were how we used to watch movies back in the day. And Mark Manson talks a lot about VCR questions. And if you always remember, they were, and I don't know how it was in everybody's house, but ours always flashed 12. My dad could never figure out how to program the thing. And it just always seemed like programming the VCR was the hardest thing to do. And of course, I knew how to do it. I was never allowed to touch the VCR though. But Mark Manson talks about VCR questions, and those are things that seem difficult to do, but in reality are relatively easy, such as how do I program the VCR? Another example would be, how do I quit my job? Well, in reality, it's very easy to quit your job. But if you're in that position, it's not quite as simple as just going up to your boss saying, I quit. These are questions that and things that are easy from the outside, but on the inside, you have different perspectives, emotions, and things like that. So how do I go break up with my girlfriend? How do I ask for a promotion? How do I do this? Things that from the outside, it's just do it. But when you're on the inside, all of those extenuating factors come into play and make it hard. So what does this all have to do with today? Well, it is New Year's Eve. Everybody's going to be setting New Year's resolutions on how they want to improve, things they want to try, and all of that other good stuff for 2025. Don't let the VCR questions get in your way and derail what you want to do for your New Year's resolutions. For example, if you want to lose weight, do it. It's as simple as that. Do it. Don't, I got it. No, you just go and do it. Want a new job? Start looking for it. I'm not saying go out and quit your job without having a plan, but start looking. Be proactive about it. Get your resume in order. Figure out what training and special skills you need. If you want to start a new hobby, do it. If you want to save money, do it. Obviously, it's very simple to do those things, but make sure you have the plan in place so you're setting yourself up. No matter what you want to do in 2025, just do it. Don't let the VCR questions hold you back. Because honestly, if not now, when? Just do it. Just jump in feet first and just begin doing it. And don't let the extenuating factors, the emotions, the perspectives, and the doubt, the fear, whatever, don't let that hold you back from doing something to make yourself better in 2025. So don't let the VCR questions derail you in the new year. That has been today's Tuesday motivation. Hopefully that'll get you through your week and into the new year, but just go out and do it. Now is the time. I mentioned a couple different times, hopefully you took the advice and started to build some habits leading into the new year. But if you haven't, that's okay. Now is the time to do it. So happy New Year, everyone. All right. Little housekeeping before we get into today's episode. Speaking of New Year's resolutions, we are not going to do podcast New Year's resolutions this year. I feel like everybody does that. However, we are going to get the karma going, break through and let go of some of the negativity and just things that we've been holding on to as Philly fans for the month of January. So we are going to be forgiving, whether it be our own players, opposing players, coaches, managers, general managers, owners, whoever. We are going to forgive them throughout the month of January. If there's anybody you think deserves or needs to be forgiven in order for us to lift that burden off of our shoulders and just let the good karma, the new Philly mentality come into play, hit me up on the Back to the Future voice and text line 267-495-8531. I'm in the process of whittling the list away because trust me, as Philly fans, we have a ton of baggage we're holding on to. So hopefully releasing the toxins of 31 of the people that we need to forgive will bring us the good karma we need heading into the Eagles Super Bowl, as well as 2025 for our sports team. So if there's anybody you want to see forgiven, hit me up on the Back to the Future voice and text line. You could also hit me up on any of my social media, Jimbo_Mott on Twitter and TikTok, at Philly Jimbo on Instagram. Be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel, Jimbo_Mott, and continue to spread the word, as lots of good things on the horizon for 2025. Then check out my boys at the Clashing Conferences podcast. Lots of good things going on their Sports Fan Network. That's available wherever you get your podcasts, as well as on YouTube. And then go to Philly Goat. It's New Year's Eve. Why don't you go spend some money? Get ready for the Eagles postseason run. Get the bird wing shoes. I've been showing them to you all week. This will be the last day I'm going to show them to you. But look at these things. They are incredible. They are so comfortable. Lots of ankle support. But really, just look at them. These things are just absolute fire. So go get the shoes. Use the promo code Jim Montgomery to take 10% off your order. That's phillygoat.com. Promo code Jim Montgomery to take 10% off your order. And get the bird wings. Get them. All right. In case you missed it, there's no chance I was staying up for this game last night. Sixers did beat the Trailblazers 125-103. Joe had a season-high 37 points. Kelly Oubre had 8 steals. And they did what they should have done to a team that they should have done it to. It's good to see that. And that's something throughout the tenure of Joe, that sometimes they played down to the competition, but they went into Portland as 6-point favorites and really did what they needed to do. And they're hot now. That's 4 straight, 10 of their last 13. They're getting closer to being 500. And like I said, don't look now. 2025. And that's why we're going to start releasing some of that burden off of our shoulders and try to will the Sixers to a decent finish here after a very, very rough start. They're in action tomorrow in Sacramento and then Thursday out in Golden State. But good win for the Sixers out on the West Coast. Let's hope they can keep that momentum going. But I don't know. I'm starting to get sucked in. And I know. But I saw some of the highlights. They looked cohesive. It was probably one of the better games they've played all season. Granted, it was against the Portland Trailblazers, so I get it. But, man, they're doing, like, to see them do what they're supposed to do against a team like that, that's what my takeaway was. All right, Flyers are in action tonight against the San Jose Sharks. A very winnable game for them. Hopefully they are able to get back onto the winning track after blowing the 2-goal lead in LA the other night. But they should be able to beat San Jose. All right, let's go to a recap of yesterday's question of the day. I asked you, who was the GOAT of the Eagles-Cowboys game? Really no surprise. 67% of you said it was Saquon Barkley. Hard to argue that. I probably would have gone CJ GJ myself. But thank you, as always, for participating in the question day. We will have another one later here in the show. All right, so some final news and notes. It was a quiet day around the NovaCare complex yesterday. Nick Sirianni spoke. No decisions have been made about who plays, who doesn't. He did say he'll let the players know before the media finds out, which leads me to believe that he might be leaving it up to them. I don't know. And it's a tough decision. Like I said, I can see both sides of it. You're so close. You'd hate to see something stupid happen, though, chasing a record. However, I would, if Jalen is cleared, I still would like to see him get a series or two. Like I said, somehow treat this like one of those old school preseason games. Get them some reps to stay sharp, and then sort of evaluate where you're at and then go from there. But I have a feeling, I think they practice tomorrow, so we should know something later in the week. Or shouldn't say later in the week. We should know something at some point tomorrow. But it's a tough decision, and I think either way, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. So we'll see. Might be the better thing to let them play somewhat, and like I said, evaluate where you're at. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer, and I'm not going to do the question of the day. Oh, should they play? Because everybody's going to have their opinion, and it's just kind of, thank God I don't have to make that decision, put it that way. But as far as playoff scenarios, it looks like they are locked into playing either Green Bay or Washington. It's pretty much right now, it looks like it's the Packers unless Washington somehow loses to the Cowboys and the Packers win. It's going to be, I think Dallas beat Washington the last time, so it's going to be a little bit of that. And I don't know, stranger things have happened. I don't think it matters. At this point, you're going to play a good team no matter what, especially the way the NFC has been this year. So I don't think it's going to be, oh, I'd rather play this. Like, there's not like an NFC West team that has 6 wins winning their division this year. So going to be a tough game no matter what, but it's also going to be a tough game for that other team too. So we will have some updates as they come in about who plays and who doesn't. But before we get into today's This Day, let's have a little bit of fun because this is an ongoing debate that we've been having for about a week or so. It is New Year's Eve. There was a point in time where it was like, let's go, we're going out to party. I'm 47 years old now, and I don't like it. So, are you going out today? That is the question of the day. 267-495-8531. Get you in. Do you go out for New Year's Eve? Yes or no? I'm fighting it. I'm absolutely fighting it. No, I'd much rather just stay on my couch, have a drink, and watch TV, fall asleep at 10:30, wake up as the ball is dropping, go to bed, and wake up feeling refreshed tomorrow. But what do you think? Hit me up on the Back to the Future voice and text line, 267-495-8531. That'll get you in. Do you go out for New Year's Eve? I can't. I just can't do it. I'm getting hungover right now just thinking about going out there. I'm getting all stressed out. But let me know what your thoughts are on the Back to the Future voice and text line. All right, today we're going to go back to 1998 and perhaps, or 1988, and perhaps one of the biggest what-ifs in Philly sports history. And this game essentially is what started my journey here as a podcaster. I'll get more on that later and more on the what-if. But on this day in 1988, it was the Fog Bowl. The Eagles lost to the Bears 20-12 in the NFC Divisional Playoff round. They were down 17-9 at half when fog just rolled in, completely making it impossible to see anything inside Soldier Field. But ultimately, it wasn't the fog that did the Eagles in that day. It was the mistakes in the first half before the fog came in. In that first half, they had 2 touchdowns called back from penalties, missed field goals. They went for it on 4th down inside the 5 and did not get it. 2 more interceptions in the red zone. The Eagles were moving the ball up and down the field on Chicago. They just could not get it in the end zone and could not, especially when the fog came, just could not get the ball into the end zone. Randall ended up throwing for 407 yards that day. A lot of those were empty stats in the fog, I guess you could say, but they had their chances in the first half. Their defense was playing great, and just the missed opportunities. They could have had a 2-touchdown lead easily by halftime by the time the fog rolled in. And unfortunately, to me, this is why it's a what-if. That was probably, other than 1991 when Randall blew out his knee, probably the best chance they had to win a Super Bowl throughout the entire Buddy Ryan era. They were young. They didn't really know what they were doing yet. They could have easily gone out and beat San Francisco in Candlestick Park the next week. If there was ever one of the teams that the 49ers had that won a Super Bowl, this was the team that could have been beaten. They could have certainly gone to the Super Bowl and beat Cincinnati then. And that changes everything. The whole Buddy Ryan perspective, what we think of him. Maybe he doesn't get fired when he does. There's just so many things. It's like the butterfly effect. And the reason I said that's what got us started, or got me started in this podcasting journey, is I guess you could say I'm still in the process of writing it. But I had an idea for a book, the What Ifs in Philly sports history, which turned into an Eagles What If. Got some writer's block, started podcasting about it, and here we are. It morphed into this. But that Fog Bowl was my first experience being disappointed as a Philadelphia fan, especially because that was the first year I spent watching every single game religiously, following along. I talk about the Miller Lite football handbook that you wrote the scores down for each game. It just was the first taste of being disappointed. I still don't know why they did not delay the game. If they delayed the game, it would have been, I think, a completely different outcome. Maybe it's part of the curse of Billy Penn, and that's why it was just the Eagles are going to win this game. Let's bring in the fog because of that. Who knows? But I do have the original recording of the Fog Bowl digitally saved. I try to watch it every now and then. It's interesting to see the commercials and things like that. However, I cannot get past halftime because it gets so frustrating that they had that many opportunities to win this game. No doubt in my mind, they go out to San Francisco the next week, beat the 49ers on the road, and win the Super Bowl in 1988 if the fog didn't roll in. But it just more of the calluses on the skin of Philly fans was the Fog Bowl. And that happened on this day in 1988. Eagles lose to the Bears 20-12 in the divisional round when a ridiculous fog off of Lake Michigan rolled in. And magically, after the game was over, the fog all dissipated. So you're going to tell me that wasn't a little bit of the curse of Billy Penn. But on this day in 1988, the Fog Bowl happened, igniting and starting the journey for me of being a disappointed Philadelphia fan, which is why starting tomorrow, we're going to start forgiving people. And this one was on my original list. It's not going to make the list, but I'm going to do it now. Just get the ball rolling. The fog in Chicago that rolled in off of the lake, I forgive you. The referees who did not delay this game, I forgive you. The NFL, who probably told the referees not to delay the game, I forgive you. CBS executives, if you were involved in it, I forgive you. I am not holding on to that burden anymore. It happened back in 1988, so the fog, referees, NFL executives, CBS executives, whoever was responsible for not delaying that game until the fog disappeared, I forgive you. I feel better already. It's going to be a great month of January as we're forgiving people. So the fog, I forgive you for rolling in off of Lake Michigan that day. Hopefully we get an update on who's playing, who's not on Sunday. It is really a meaningless game. Absolutely nothing can. It's one of those things, yes, there's the record's there, but you have nothing to gain and everything to lose. I think I just talked myself into making sure everybody's benched. But I'm sure it'll change and flip-flop a couple times before we get there. Let me know if you're going out for New Year's Eve. If you are, though, be safe. Don't do anything stupid. Call an Uber. Just be safe. No need to be stupid and dumb and anything like that. So be safe. Happy New Year. Cannot wait to start forgiving because that does feel good. It was very cathartic to get that weight off my shoulders. I finally am not holding on to the grudge of the fog from 1988. So I forgive you, fog, and whoever else was responsible for not delaying that game. It's going to be a great month of January as we're trying to get that good karma to help the Eagles win, the Sixers to continue to get on a roll, the Flyers to get on a roll, and who knows, maybe even the Phillies will do something well this year also. But again, be safe. I will see you next year. This has been This Day in Philly Sports History for December 31st, 2024. My name is Jim Montgomery, and until next time, I'll see you when I see you.